Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Audrey. I am the bookpreneur. And today in this episode, I'm going to be talking about something that I recently found out about called the painted tree. Now, I'm writing a fiction book, my very first fiction book, and I'm excited about that because I've always written nonfiction. So I've been publishing and writing books, self-publishing and writing books since 1998. This is actually For those of you who don't know me, this is actually the very first book that I self-published. I co-self-published with two of my friends, and I've been publishing books ever since. So I decided this year that I wanted to do some nonfiction because I don't proclaim to be a nonfiction fiction writer. However, I do proclaim to be a creator, which means I create a lot of content all the time, which I do. But anyway, I'm writing a fiction book series, and someone told me about this thing called a painted tree. And so I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk about what the painted tree is and why that could be important for you and your book. So stay tuned.
Why do 70% of aspire Why do 70% of aspiring authors never publish their work? Because they don't have bookpreneur. Whether you're dreaming of publishing your memoir, a children's book, or the next great novel, Bookpreneur is your go-to source. Our weekly newsletter and video show offer step-by-step guidance and insider tips to help you navigate the publishing world. Don't let your masterpiece stay hidden. Join the Bookpreneur community today and start turning pages into profit. Subscribe now at www.bookpreneur.com.
So welcome back. So today I want to talk about the painted tree. So I am an instructor for a Bible college in one of my other lives because I have so many. I'm an instructor at I'm going to be instructing a class for a Bible college, teaching people how to start podcasts. As I said earlier, I don't proclaim to be a fiction writer. However, I do proclaim to be a content creator because I create a lot of content and I teach people how to create content and I teach people how to write books and how to self-publish books, not write, but definitely how to self-publish. So this year I decided I wanted to do fiction. Here's why I decided I wanted to do fiction, because I have a vivid imagination, but I do not have the talents that I believe I need to be a fiction writer, because I believe people who are fiction writers are just talented people who can weave together these amazing stories. I'm not that person. Not on paper, not that I have to do it myself. In my head, yes. To get it out my head on paper, a little bit challenging. But that's okay, because we have some extremely smart tools that I can dump my thoughts into, and they can create something very similar to what I want. So I decided to leverage some of those tools to write fiction novels, right? Short novels, not 300-page novels, not even that. Very short novels to tell my stories the way I want to tell them, and just go back and be able to go back and tweak them and make them like really like I want them to be, but to get the main thoughts out of my head and into content format. So I'm putting together my plan about what to do with the marketing side of it. I got all these ideas in my head, and someone said to me, she's actually the dean of the Bible college that I am going to be training on how to start a podcast at. She was like, "Oh, I used to have a bookstore at the Painted Tree." And I was like, "Well, what is the Painted Tree?" And so she went on to tell me there was this beautiful place where she had a bookstore, and then she sent me pictures, and it was so pretty. Now, what's interesting about what she said was, I had just told my husband, I said, I want a bookstore. I've always wanted a bookstore. Believe it or not, that has been one of my ultimate dreams, was to have a bookstore, like a book cafe, not just a bookstore, but a book cafe, because I've always loved books. Like, you can see my shelf on this side, is books there, is books there over there. I have books everywhere. I have books in my garage in boxes. I've always loved books. As a matter of fact, when we were younger, when I was a teenager, my brother and I are like 11 months apart. And he used to say, I wish I had a brother, because all you want to do is read books, because I like books. So for me, I love reading books, and I've always loved reading books. So I have books. I have books everywhere in my house. I have a bag full of books in my bedroom. I have books up under my TV stand. I haven't read yet. I love books. So I've always wanted a bookstore. So when she said to me, I had a bookstore in the Painted Tree, and I was like, well, what is the Painted Tree? I never heard of the Painted Tree. Literally, the Painted Tree is about 10 minutes away from me. I had never heard of it. Now that could be for a couple of different reasons, but when I think about the Painted Tree and what it does, I should have heard about it. Like, it should have been a mailer in my mailbox saying, "Hey, come over to the Painted Tree," but there wasn't. So I'm like, okay, now what kind of marketing you guys are doing over there at the Painted Tree? Because I'm 10 minutes away and I've never heard of you. So anyway, she had a bookstore in the Painted Tree. And I went to bed thinking about that Monday night. I think it was Monday night. I went to bed thinking about this Painted Tree in this bookstore. And I said to her, how much was the rent? And she said the rent at the Painted Tree was um $189 a month. So I said, 189. I said a week or a month. She said a month. I was like, $189 a month for a bookstore. So she sent me the pictures of her store, which was laid out very pretty. Like it was really laid out nicely. And I thought this is pretty cool. And so I said to her, I said, nose a little runny. I said to her, I said, okay, so you paid $189 a month and you had a bookstore. And she said, yeah, and I used to offer the service to other authors who wanted to get their book, in the store, and they were on a membership kind of thing. And I said, okay, that's really cool. Now, my first thought was, wait a minute, I could have a full blown bookstore with all these books and all this stuff. That was my first thought. So I decided to go take a trip over to the painted tree. So I want to show you like the website because I thought this was pretty cool. I'm going to show you their website. Right here. Where is it? Oh, wait. It's right here. So this is their website. This is the Painted Trees website. And hope you guys can see that. This is their website. Now, what's pretty cool about this, wait, that's the wrong screen. Hold on, y'all. I'm on the wrong screen. Remove that one. Stop this screen. Hold on a second. Let's go back again. Share screen. Now, what's interesting about this is that no, they're not paying me, not yet. Anyway, like I plan on becoming a patron of the Painted Tree because I really love this whole concept. So, the Painted Tree gives you the option to actually get a space inside the store. So yesterday I went to the store. There's one in Snellville, Georgia, which is where we do our show, our daily news show, which is comes on 5 days a week at 9 a.m. called Good Morning Georgia. We do it in Snellville. So after I got finished the show, I was like, let me go to the Painted Tree and check them out. When I get to the Painted Tree, I see some of the most beautiful, I'm talking about beautiful things. I see clothing, I see houseware, I see home decor, I see paintings, I see artwork, I see books. I see so many unique and beautiful things. It was crazy. And she said to me, she said, once you go in there, you're probably going to be inspired. And I was like, she is absolutely right. I'm talking about gorgeous stuff. So, of course, me being the person that I am, I walk the entire store. So I walk around the store and I see they have some spaces available. I see some spaces. I see some people who have stuff directly in the middle of the floor. Like if you're walking down the aisle, there's a kiosk, I guess you can call it, in the middle of the floor. In the middle of the floor, there are some big spaces. There are some smaller spaces. There are some just wall spaces. So there was a young lady there, and I said to her, you got a space in here? She's like, yeah. I said, what do you sell? She says, body butters. I said, okay. So she said, that's me over there. So she was at the front of the store, but she had just a wall space. So I said, okay, I'm going to go buy some body butters because I love body butters. So I go over to her space, and she decided to come over and talk to me. By the time she got over there, I had already figured out which body butter I wanted. So I was asking her, how do you like it here? And she said, I like it. I said, how long have you been here? She said, a year. I said, how is it doing? She says, doing well. I have never had to pay any rent out of pocket, ever since I've been here for a year. And I was like, really? So let me explain to you how the whole process works, right? So how the process works is this. When you get a spot inside of the Painted Tree, you have to put down the first month's rent, whatever space that is, and a half month security deposit. And then once you do that, you go to you set your station up the way you want it set up, and there's a cashier. Now, when I went to the Painted Tree, I expected to see a whole bunch of people. I didn't see a whole bunch of people. I didn't see any people. I saw the lady at the desk who was a vendor. She was leaving, and she was actually there to restock her shelves. And I saw the cashier. So what's exciting about that is that you can get your spot inside of the store, decorate it the way you want to, put the signage the way you want to, and then the cashier checks everybody out for you. at the end of the month, they do a tally of all your sales. They take your rent money out and they cut you a check for the rest. Did y'all hear what I just said? They do all your sales for you. They do some marketing for you. You know, you can market yourself. People go to the store 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night, Monday through Sunday. You don't even have to be there. You have a cashier that's at the register that people go pick up stuff. They go to the register, they check out. At the end of the month, they tally up all your sales. They take out your rent money plus a 10% commission and they send you the rest. I was so excited about that. I was so excited about this. So my first thought was, I'm gonna have a great big bookstore, right? Because they got space enough to have a nice size bookstore. That was my first thought. I have this bookstore. So I text my husband, I want this bookstore. He said, what bookstore? I'm explaining to him, do you remember what I said like last night about the bookstore? He said, oh yeah. So I'm telling him on his way home, I'm like, I went to the store. It's really nice. It reminds us we had a spot at this something very similar in Rocky Mount when we lived in North Carolina here. Now we had a t-shirt booth where people would come and get custom t-shirts made. We had cameras and printers and all that stuff and heat press irons and all that kind of stuff. And people would come to the store and they would get their picture taken and we'd put it on the shirts for them and things like that. So I said to him, I want this store. So he said, I need to see it, right? Which is interesting because my husband is not entrepreneurial. So for him to say, I need to see it like today, I'm like, wait a minute, he's interested. So I said, okay. I said, well, when you come home, we're going to go to the one up in Beaufort because there's three in Georgia. It's one in Snellville, which is about 10 minutes away. There's one in Beaufort, Georgia, which is about 25 minutes away. And then there's one in Roswell, which is about, I think, probably about 40 minutes away from me, where I live at. So I said, well, let's go to the one up in Beaufort because that's the next one. And that's up by the mall, right? So we go to the one up in Beaufort. Beautiful. The one in Snellville was beautiful. I felt like the one in Beaufort was a little bit more upscale. Not that the one in Snellville wasn't. I just felt like the way they had everything, the way they had the building laid out, when you walk up, it felt more upscale. Because they had the awnings and it was just different. But the inside, the people were kind of like, it was kind of like the same kind of stuff. You saw like, you know, beautiful home decor and artwork and all these beautiful things, just beautiful stuff. So it was beautiful stuff. So he and I walked the store and we asked some questions. Now, what I do believe is that the store in Beaufort costs more than the store in Snellville. I felt like that because the fees that they told me in Snellville were different than what I saw in Beaufort, which kind of makes sense because the demographics is a little bit different. But anyway, I'm walking through the store and I'm thinking about my bookstore. I'm thinking about these books I'm writing. I'm thinking about all these books that I've written already that I can go and purchase and put them in the store. I'm thinking about all these things. And so on my way home, I'm thinking about I could put journals in the store. I got all these things that I'm thinking about, right? All of these different things that I'm thinking about, I can put in the store and I'm excited about it, you know. So here I am saying, well, I'm going to go up there every Saturday. I'm going to do book signings, which I can still do that. But my husband said, well, why would you do that when you don't have to? Because the cashiers, they take care of all the sales for you. Like you don't even have to go into the store. You can ship your stuff to the store. They have a drop shipping department that will unbox your stuff, put the tags on it, and put it on your shelf. Now, you do have to pay like $15 an hour for that. But if you have stuff and you want to get it to the store and you got books and you want to get your books to the store and you don't want to go into the store, you can have your books shipped to the store. They would price them all for you, put them in your space, and charge you $15 an hour. I was like, pretty cool. So I'm excited. I'm inside the painted tree. I'm walking around. I'm getting all these ideas about, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. And on my way home is silence in the car. Because one, now that my husband has seen it, I don't think he has the same vision that I had, right? I came in the door saying, I want a bookstore. I asked him, what did you think? He goes, well, I'm trying to figure out what we could sell. Well, I don't know what you could sell. I want a bookstore. That was my whole thing. Like, I want a bookstore. That's what I said I wanted. Now, if he wants to sell something else, he can sell whatever he wants to sell. But for me, I already know what I'm selling, books. That was my whole purpose of talking about the bookstore. So it was very quiet. One, he didn't see my vision. He saw a vision, but it wasn't mine, which is fine. Then you wrote with your vision, I wrote mine. So I'm on my way home. I'm thinking about all the stuff that I can put in the bookstore. So I instantly go and look and start looking for journals, wholesale journals, bulk journals, all these different things. I'm gonna put it in my bookstore. But then what I thought about later, I said, okay, slow your roll, Audrey. Slow your roll. Just relax for a second. It's gonna happen. And you're gonna get the book out there, but you need to stop for 1 second. So what I did was I decided to go to sleep and wake up and think about it differently. So when I woke up this morning, I said, okay, I'm definitely gonna have a bookstore or a book kiosk in those painted in the painted tree. I said, but what I'm going to do is it's gonna be just my book series. That's all it's gonna be. And everything in my book booth is going to be about my book series. So it's going to be the books that I write, everything that go along with that. Because what I want to do is build a brand around that book. Because my intention is to turn that book series into a movie, into a film franchise. So that's my ultimate goal. So I'm writing these, creating these really cool books. I want to take those books and I want to turn it into a movie franchise. So I said, okay, instead of me thinking about putting journals in the store and all this other stuff, everything that's going to go into my bookstore has to do with my book. Like it's going to be 7 books, and everything that goes in the store has to do with the 7 books. So now, for you, you may be saying, well, I got a lot of stuff. I have books too. I have a whole bunch of books. But for this, I want to build a solid brand around these books because I want to build a movie franchise around these books. So I need people to see these books everywhere. So here's my plan for the painted tree. I'm going to start with one store because I'm going to have one book. So that book will be finished no later than October 1st. I got one book that I'm going to have right now. That's going to be the first book in the series. Once I get that book done, I'm going to go to the Painted Tree in Snellville first. I'm going to get a kiosk. So the kiosk is $175 a month, right? I'm going to get a kiosk and I'm going to deck the kiosk out with all of the covers from the new books that's coming, all everything that has to do with the book that I'm doing right now, with the characters and all that. That's how that's going to be set up, just like that. That's what I'm going to do with that book because I want people to be ready for the series. Now, my second thing is when I get the second book, when I get the first book, I'm going to put it in a painted tree in Snellville first. Then I'm going to open up another kiosk in Beaufort. Then I'm going to open up another kiosk in Roswell. So that's all three of the painted trees in Georgia. Now that's going to cost me what 175. What's that? 350 plus another 175. That's 425. No, that's 525. That's $525 a month. So my rent for 3 spaces is going to be $525 a month. Now I know that sounds like a lot, but here's my plan. And you can follow this plan. I'm sharing what I'm going to be doing. The first the first book, if it does really well, and I can see where, okay, this book did really well over here in Snellville, let's take some of that money and reinvest it into my second spot in Beaufort. And if Beaufort does really well, let's take some of that money and invest it in the next spot in Roswell. Now, let's say for instance, I said it was 525, right? Now here's the thing. This is what you got to think about. I'm a numbers person. So 525 times 12, $6,330, right? I know for the entire year, if these booths make me $6,300, I've just taken care of all of my rent for the entire year. I don't have to worry about that. So everything after $6,300 is pure profit, minus the 10% commission. So if I make $6,300 or more, I'm doing great. So I'm thinking about it like that. Now, what's interesting about the Painted Tree is that they have a bunch of stores. So they have more than just Georgia. They got stores all over the place. They're originally out of Arkansas. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so if I do the first 3 here in Georgia, see how that works out, I can scale my store to the next store. I can scale my store to the next store, all based around my book series, just that book series, my 7 book series. What does that do? That's going to create a lot of momentum and visibility for my book series, right? Now I could have went in there and put in journals and all this stuff, which I still may put a few journals because I feel like some people are going to want a journal. If I do not decide to do that, which I might do that, it may be book covered like journals based on the book. But if I do not decide to do that, the brand is being built around my book. So I'm excited about the painted tree. I wanted to share the painted tree with you guys because for me, to have and the kiosks that I saw two of them, and they were really nice size kiosks. Like you could put like in reality, I'm gonna have to really deck it out because I'm only gonna have one book. So I'm gonna have to really deck my kiosk out so it can look really nice, and because I'm only gonna have one book starting out. But I want to make my branding so beautiful till people want to pick up the book and buy the book. And then they want to join my mailing list, and they want to make sure that they come out when I do a signing, because I'm going to set up some signings at the kiosk. I'm going to set up some signings, so I'm going to schedule some of those, but they're going to be like intentional. I'm not. First of all, I was going to just pop up and do a book signing. That was my first thought. I'll pop up every Saturday. I'm going to do a book signing, and my husband like, why would you do that? So I decided not to do that, but I am going to schedule some book signings at my store inside of the Painted Tree. So when you think about marketing your book, you have to be very intentional. For me, the goal is to be a New York Times bestseller, a USA Today bestseller, or Amazon bestseller. That's the goal. So I'm going all out on everything, every opportunity to get my book exposed as I can. And for me, especially now that it's coming up to holiday season, all of these painted trees, I asked them, I said, how's your foot traffic inside the painted tree during the week? They said, people kind of drift in during the week, but on the weekends, they get slammed. I'm like, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So I know for me, it's coming up to holiday season. So in my mind, I'm thinking if it's coming up to holiday season, my books need to be in all three of those painted trees before the holiday season. We go straight into holiday season next month. Everybody starts to shopping for Christmas and Thanksgiving and all these things, and it runs right through to President's Day, because now we got Christmas coming up, we got Thanksgiving, we got New Year's, we got Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday. These are all holidays, ladies and gentlemen, all holidays. And I want to be in a position where my book are out there, they're out there. So by the beginning of next year, I should be on book number 3. That's what I should be on, book number 3. By the end of next year, I should have all 7 completely done. So that's my plan. I just wanted to share the painted tree with you guys and give you the opportunity to go find a painted tree in your area and go look around. You're going to be inspired. You are going to be inspired. If you are not inspired, then you cannot be inspired. I believe that you're going to be inspired because so much beautiful stuff is in there. Like just so much beautiful stuff. And here's the thing, don't be intimidated though. So get creative about how you can set up your space if you decide to vend inside of the painted tree. Don't be intimidated because some of those booths are beautiful. I'm talking about like they had a design team coming in and designed it for them. Don't be intimidated by that. What I want you to do is think about your goal. They have a beautiful booth. That's beautiful. How can I make my booth beautiful to what I'm trying to get done? That's what I want you to think about. I don't want you to think about how beautiful somebody else's booth is, how creative. Don't think about that. You are there to sell your book. You are there to build your book brand. That's what you're there for. So don't go inside the painted tree trying to compare yourself to the people that's in the painted tree, because there's some amazing stuff in here. Listen, I can't draw a straight line. But your girl was not, I was not, I was not intimidated. What I said was, okay, what's my game plan? Right? I can't design anything. I already told my daughter, I need you to come. Listen, I don't have curtains in my office. I don't have curtains in my bedroom. I do not. Because I don't think like that. But I do think outside of the box when it's like, okay, how can I make this grow? So don't think about what you see. Think about what you want. Focus on the thing that you want. Focus on what you want for your book, right? For me, I look at this as taking one store and being able to franchise my book across all of these stores under Painted Tree. That's how I look at it. And the cost of entry is so small. Just a kiosk with my books on it, $125, $175. Because if you get just a wall, which gives you like a whole wall like this much space in the wall, like that much, right? Let's say it's about, probably get about 2 feet worth of 2 feet wide, about 5 or 6 feet tall of space for a wall. That's 125. Did you hear what I said? That is $125 a month. And here's the thing. Your sales will take care of your rent and hopefully bring you back a profit. And now you're inside. I don't know what else they do. I don't know who came up with the concept for the painted tree, but I love it. And I'm going to leverage it. And I'm hoping that you leverage it. I hope that you listen to what I'm saying. Take my story. Say, you know what? Let me go find a painted tree near me. Let me go in there and see what I can see for myself in my book and then leverage that. I guarantee you, I'm going to be in all of the painted trees by next spring. All of them. Every one of them. You're gonna be able to go to the painted tree. You're gonna be able to go to a painted tree and see my stuff. All of them. So thank you again for joining and tuning in. I hope this helped you, think about ways to grow your branding for your book and to help you get out there. I'll be back with another episode. Until next time, my friends. Let me stop this share. I'm like talking. Let me stop the screen share. Until next time, y'all. Until next time, make it a great day. Bye, everybody.